Hello everybody, welcome to Bad Big Games. I'm your host Joseph. Today, it's time we start talking about Capcom and if they're financially doing okay, because there's some rumors, some speculations that are starting to swirl in the internet that Capcom is not in the best financial place at the moment, and in fact, they're not doing good whatsoever. In fact, they are looking for someone to buy them out. Now, this comes from Shinobi062. He is a famous, or she is a famous leaker here in the gaming industry. And Shinobi says that the Wall Street Journal is right now preparing an article that states that Capcom is not doing well, that none of their games are hitting and that they're in some type of financial crisis. And usually when it comes to rumors and when it comes to speculation, you know, I like to be a little bit hands off on it. But when it comes to this, I actually thought it immediately made sense to me. Like, let's walk this back for a second. Are they not doing well financially? Fact is, we don't know. But looking at the big picture, it kind of makes sense that they're not in the best place right now. Take a look at Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, right? That game debuted in the middle of September, the beginning of the holiday season, as it were. This game is a famous series that is beloved by fans, and this game kind of took a couple of liberties. First, doesn't have the same comic book art style it usually has, doesn't have the X-Men in it, and it suffered because of that. NPD numbers have come out for the month of September saying that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite came out at number 6 on the list of the month of September, behind games like Destiny, which I think we could all assume, but also behind games like Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. That game came out at the end of August. That game, even if you say, well, Joe, it had all 30 days to compete, it's only on one platform, the Switch, and a small audience, as to where Marvel vs. Capcom is on, you know, the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4, and I believe the PC. Let me know if I'm wrong down below. Nonetheless, these have way bigger audiences than the Nintendo Switch, and this game was not able to hit it. Look at Resident Evil 7, right? They said that this game, they wanted to sell about 6 to 7 million units. It sold about 3 or 4 the first month. It's not looking good so far. And then you look back even further, you see that Dead Rising 4 was not a hit whatsoever. It was a disaster for both Microsoft and Capcom. We're seeing that all of last year was just Capcom really relying on re-releases and HD remasters of games like Dead Rising, games like Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6. And then when you look even further, you look at Street Fighter V that performed, I remember opening that game and there was barely any content to it. It didn't sell well, and even with content that is flooded over time, the game still hasn't been able to produce the numbers Capcom wants. I remember when we were talking about Street Fighter V that this was not going to happen. This game, Street Fighter V, was not going to happen without Sony. Now, hindsight 2020, when your marketing's telling you that, it kind of hints that Capcom is not in the best financial place, and that's probably because Capcom, Square Enix, a lot of Japanese publishers and developers kind of thought we're at the beginning of this generation that consoles were dead and that they all went and turned towards a mobile solution. And when they saw that mobile was not the dreamland that they thought it was, and that this console generation wasn't a failure, in fact, the total opposite, then they kind of started this generation really lagging behind. And some people have been able to somewhat recover. We're looking at Square Enix right now, but some people haven't, and that looks to be Capcom. So now the real question is, okay, so if this is correct, these rumors are true, are we about to see another THQ situation where Capcom starts selling pieces of itself, selling pieces of their development team or IP to different publishers or developers? That would be the worst case scenario, I think. I think we're not going to see a THQ situation, hopefully, out of Capcom if these rumors are true. Instead, I think we are going to see maybe possibly someone buy Capcom out. Again, this isn't the first time Capcom's actually asked or put it out there that they would be open to someone actually buying them out. They've been open in the past, so I don't think that a THQ scenario is actually even possible in this scenario. With that said, who would come in and buy Capcom? Because to me, again, THQ scenario, that can't happen. Capcom's over 30 plus years old. They've been with us since the 80s, 90s, early 2000s to now. And so seeing that name go away, it would fucking hurt. Even as a not big Capcom guy myself, seeing a company that's been here for so long just go under would suck. So I think that name still holds importance in the gaming industry, that someone would want that publishing arm. So who would it be? Well, to me, let's make it fun. Let's make it spicy. To me, I actually think who would want it the most is not someone like Ubisoft, not someone like Activision, Blizzard, or anything like that. Instead, I think it makes the most sense if it's either Microsoft or Sony. Go with me here. I think Sony would want it for one reason, and one reason alone. It gives them a fighting genre that they've never had on lock before, and that is the Street Fighter series. It gives them a series, like an RPG series, that makes them very, very competitive in Japan, and that is the Monster Hunter genre, right? The Monster Hunter series is huge in Japan, and that would make them a very big piece of competition in Japan. Now, with that said, over to the Microsoft side of things, Microsoft, if they were to buy out Capcom, might be one of the smartest decisions Microsoft could do as a company. Why? Because Microsoft isn't known for being a big publisher, right? Usually they hand off IP to other developers, independent developers, to do and make. Usually they have studios just dedicated to one series and one series only. We see that with the Coalition, see that with 343, we see that with the Forza gang, right? So with that, you have now this big development team at your disposal, and guess what? That development team is known for making some very popular Japanese games. You're in a marketplace that you never were in before. You're in Japan, and now you can be competent and you could be competition in a region you never were before. Monster Hunter does great. Resident Evil does great. These games do well in Japan, so why not make Microsoft competitive there? It would just, to me, make sense. And at the same exact time, you have the Capcom name. You could either make it a third-party game that prints on every single console, or you can make it so that, hey, you want to play this? We'll play it on Windows or play it on our console. I think that would be the best for Microsoft to do. And I think that's a lot of incentive because they already have games that are known on the Microsoft console, like Dead Rising. To me, I think that one makes the most sense. Now, with that said, and with that all out of the way, I don't think any of those options are happening. If Capcom's looking to be bought out, it's not by someone who's already in the gaming industry. It's an outside entity. It's a company like Viacom that owns several different companies in different spheres of influence. I think if anyone is going to do it, it might be a company like Vivendi. Vivendi is known for owning places in companies like Blizzard and Activision before Activision Blizzard bought their shares away from Vivendi, making themselves independent. We see Vivendi right now trying to take over Ubisoft. They might find an easier time taking over Capcom, but we'll see. I don't know. I think that is the most reasonable thing to think of, is actually a company that is known for restructuring companies and making them super profitable, and then to be sold off into the marketplace either by the company buying themselves out or by them selling them to another big publisher. Who knows? That's what I think. So with all that said, with all that out of the way, again, these opinions are my own. I want to know what you guys think down below. Do you think Capcom's in trouble? Do you think people are overreacting? Do you think, and who actually is going to buy out Capcom if Capcom's up for sale? Let me know in the comment section down below. Here at That Big Games, it's all about the conversation. It's all about gamers from all genres, from all consoles, platforms, whatever the case may be, coming together, starting a dialogue. So with all that said, and all that out of the way, everybody, if you like this video, please hit like, share, subscribe. It helps me out, grows this big, beautiful channel that I call home. And with all that said and all that out of the way, everybody, keep your wits about you and have a nice one.